I do have a question for you pertaining to the rescue squad. For the fire prevention, would you all like to take them one at a time, or would you all like to group together those that are asking for any increases? How would you like to do
I make a motion, the ones that haven't asked for an increase, I vote that we send those on.
that? There's been a motion to send forward fire prevention contributions with no increases.
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Gibson. So let's identify which ones those are. Firemen's Association, Bulls Gap Volunteer Fire Department, Carters Valley, Church Hill Volunteer Fire Department, not including the first responders at 15. So that there's two different funds for them. Clinch Valley, Lakeview Fire Department, Mount Carmel Volunteer Fire Department, Rogersville Volunteer Fire Department, Rogersville, and Sherborne. Okay, so that's the motion that's on the floor. Does anybody have any discussion or questions about any of those?
Did you skip over Goshen Valley?
I
think they
asked for that one time.
Oh, okay.
Increase for
Okay.
that, yes.
I think we are funded that.
Yeah, we
right?
are, yeah, we are funded.
So we could include Goshen Valley in that. So I've written in the 6,500.
Goshen Valley, we already funded what? We didn't fund Goshen Valley, we capped it from public safety.
You asked the budget committee to look at it. 6,500 for the gas tank and
But it wasn't funded yet.
So it came out of
Public
public
safety asked budget to look at.
Oh, okay.
I'll do a resolution on that this month for next for the night, so that will be done before this year.
So you don't want to include
Just
that?
don't include in the budget, I'll see the resolution in to take care of it in May before, where we can already start on that, because I think that was the intent of trying to get it going earlier.
So if nobody else has any discussion, I have a couple of questions I want to ask. We pulled some data on a couple of volunteer fire departments that I've got some concerns on. And I'd like to discuss them. One being Clinch Valley. And it's actually in the community where I work, and I have the opportunity to serve some of the folks that lead that volunteer fire department. But what I've seen is they're not responding a whole lot. And I don't want to say that I don't want to fund them, but I'd like to ask the question of them. What can we do to help them as they get calls, respond appropriately, given the money that we invest in that community? And talking to some other folks that work in emergency services, they say there could be a communications issue. I know there was a helicopter that landed in Clinch due to there was a helicopter that was supposed to land in Clinch due to a car wreck not too long ago. They weren't able to access the LZ, and they ended up having to take that patient across the mountain in an ambulance. The patient, I found out, was okay. There was another time that a bird landed at the school there, and I don't know that any of the Clinch Valley Fire Department showed up to help set that LZ up. And if we're giving them, and this doesn't go just for Clinch Valley, this goes for any fire department. If we're funding them through charitable contributions, it would be nice to know that they're responding to calls.
The cost in my office too, of manpower and equipment to mitigate that problem. Now there's a new locker over there that every ambulance has keys in. It's just point of clarity on.
For the record, the principal of the school said if you can't unlock it, cut it.
And that's what we would do.
Yes.
Unfortunately, the ambulance didn't have their bolt cutters over there to put them in.
But that hasn't been fixed.
Yeah.
That get their financials in this year for Clinch Valley.
So I looked back, I might have overlooked them. I saw a placeholder for them.
Did you mean this year is in 23-24, or is it the future budget year?
For the future
Well,
budget.
for 23-24, yes, they did finally turn their stuff in and get their contribution. In 24-25, there's no communication from them.
I commonly receive calls from ISO as well, which is the rating service that they have no contact with them. I give them the information that I have and don't ever hear anything back from them.
is it still operating? As far as
Officially, they are in operation. I go by and see them there sometimes. I do know that they're gonna set up a bathroom area and place where folks can get some food for the Clinch Valley yard sale that's coming up. They put that on their marquee, so they're active in the building.
Did they get the training completed at one time, or they didn't have, they weren't in compliance with the state with the training?
We don't get any of that in our office, so I'm not sure what the training levels are.
Do they respond to any calls?
There are a lot that they don't. There's a lot that, it's a combination of Lakeview, Rogersville, and Stanley Valley that respond over to take care of those calls. And outside of county agencies coming, from Trekway and Panther Creek.
We had to drop the cardiac response program because we couldn't get a response to update the licensing or anything from them, so we suspended the cardiac response program.
So they no longer have cardiac
I
response.
had no response, so we were done. Emailed a letter, and I've not heard anything.
My concern
According to our
is
direction,
those taxpayers pay the same amount of money and don't get a full assignment from, they don't always get as many resources as what over here may get.
well, and other departments are having to mitigate, and they're not getting extra money for doing it.
Spending a tremendous amount of fuel and manpower.
Very little.
Lynn may can speak on the answering calls more on precise percentages, but
They respond to very little calls that we send them to. As far as the actual data, I don't have it in front of me. I think the data that Commissioner Roach has is a couple months old.
It is.
I could refresh that. It's actually got to the point that regardless of what the call type is, we assign another fire department with them. So there's 2 fire departments going to a call across the mountain, regardless of what it is.
So, just for reference, and this is old, from October the 8th until January 17th, there's a list of calls. 6, 7, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 calls total. They responded to 1, 2, 3, 4.
That's year to date?
No, that's between October the 8th and January the 17th. And we appreciate what they're doing. Obviously, you know, they're there to provide a service. It's just if we're going to contribute this money, they need to provide that service. And
Well, it's
so-
not fair to the other departments that are really using that money to their advantage.
And furthermore, with that question, I have received concerns about that department specifically, but I've not looked into any other department. Off the top of your head, just looking at the data, Director Campbell, are there other departments that don't respond when they're called out, or do they typically go?
We occasionally have a failed response from other departments, but you have to remember they're volunteer. When you look at the ratio of what they answer versus what a failed response is, no, it's nowhere near it.
So, I'm sorry, go
I
ahead.
just want to ask, do we know what their last year ending fund balance was?
They didn't say anything.
What about the year before? What was the last, I guess, information we had?
I can go pull last year's from you, for you, but I don't have it with me right now. As the chair, I can't really make this motion, but I would request that if we're going to pass this motion as we have it, that we would pull Clinch Valley from that.
I make the motion to amend to exclude Clinch Valley Fire Department.
Thank you, Mr. Gillum, thank you, Mr. Palmer. Any further discussion on that amendment to pull Clinch Valley? And this is not permanent, this is for draft purposes, but hopefully we can get some more information from them.
In its entirety?
Correct.
The entire contribution, yes, for now.
Right.
Jamie's got something that he needs to.
So I asked the mayor if he wanted me to address this on my understanding how this works if that department defaults. Now, if we fail to fund them, we don't have a legal route to like pull their ability to be a fire department. So it has to become to the point where they default, then we address that as a county commission on how we cover that area.
So,
And if they do default, they lose that building.
That, that's all discussions we have, but that's how it would work if they're not funded. I'm sure we are their major stream of income, so, and I know this is just for draft purposes, but if that's not resolved, that's how that would trickle.
And I understand, and so I want to make this clear too, from my point of view, I have no interest in watching Clinch Valley Fire Department to fall. I want them, we need that fire department in the
Right.
community, that's Nancy's district, but I work there and I serve those kids. We need that fire department to operate, so I don't want to pull any funding from them, but I do think we need to ask some more questions of them before we do.
I agree.
But it's completely unacceptable to only respond to 4 out of 17 calls.
Between October 8th and January 17th, that's true.
It's almost like they're choosing which calls they want to respond to.
And like I say, there may be more to the story, this is not to throw off on the department, I'd just like to get some more information from
We've
them.
been struggling for probably, at least 4 or 5 years.
But if they're not communicating with anybody at all. I mean, you said
They're volunteers.
when you dispatch another fire department to cover that area, if you get a call, do they respond?
No, not usually.
So essentially, we don't have any response.
In order to get emergency response to Clinch Valley, essentially, anytime there's an emergency, somebody's crossing the mountain.
Yes.
The
If
other
you're talking about the other departments, yes, they do.
So the other departments will respond if that.
Yeah, we pull Striggersville across the mountain often. And then depending on what the call type is, we may pull Treadway from Hancock County because they can shoot straight up Clinch Valley. Or we'll pull Kyle's Ford, Panther Creek from Hancock County.
And in terms of rescue squad coverage, there is a unit that's stationed in the Clinch area for that purpose, so that they don't have to cross the mountain. But outside of that, that's the only emergency response in Clinch, in the Edson area, is that one Hawkins County Rescue Squad truck right now that we know, because the Clinch Valley Fire Department doesn't typically respond.
I can bring you actual data back if y'all want.
That'd be helpful if you can.
You want it on the fiscal year or year to date?
Probably the chief sitting here also.
Right.
Answers the question.
Answer some tough questions because I thought about this on and on. I mean, I don't want to give them the same thing that, say, Striggersville or Stanley Valley or Persia or, the ones that really roll out every time are getting the same thing that a fire department that's not responding gets.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's fair that way, and I also don't think it's fair for, let's take for instance, Striggersville, to spend the gas and the time to get across the mountain when Clinch should have been there anyway.
But as you said, what's the recourse? I've had a few calls where I've called over there, supposedly, well, I'm not gonna say. And address some issues, but, all I could do was make the request that what was going on not continue to go on. I think their volunteer staff is down to maybe, 3 or 4? They're using junior firemen, which I don't think is legal. So what's our recourse?
They're
How-
not answering commission. They're using what?
Junior firemen.
Oh. Well, it says turnout here, we just send them there.
12.
Jesus.
That's,
Yeah, we treated them all the same.
So how do you reorganize the fire department, I guess is what I'm trying to figure out.
That's gonna be the key, to find somebody over there to ride herd on it.
That's the best solution there, is if you can find someone to manage that department and pull it back up.
Well, and for the sake of this discussion, we have no evidence of any kind right now. We don't want to assume that they're not doing it because they don't want to. We just need to find some more information. So I don't want to throw off on anybody that's leading that fire department or that's involved in the fire department. We just need to have some more questions. All right, so the amendment is to withdraw Clinch Valley Volunteer Fire Department from this draft for calculation purposes. That's the amendment. Ms. Sarah, is there any other discussion? Ms. Sarah, will you call the roll on that amendment, please?
Jason Roach,
Yes.
Joshua Gillum,
Yes.
Tom Kerr.
Yes.
John Gibson.
Yes.
Nancy Barker.
Yes.
Danny Elvis.
No.
And Robbie Palmer.
Yes.
6 yes, 1 no, motion carries.